And it's not just something as simple as something everybody can do. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is something as far as just being a radio DJ or a radio host, it comes with knowing your material and being fluent on the mic and just having a great personality and a warm voice when it comes to stuff like radio.
Okay, so I started off as a promoter initially. Then that got real boring to me, and I wanted to do hosting. Then that got boring to me, and then I started DJing. And I think the thing I like the most about DJing is there's so many fields to it. You can do clubs, but then you can also do mixtapes, but then you can also do radio. So one thing led to another, and I ended up migrating towards radio. I actually started at E93. I started off doing mixes, which turned into weekends, and then that turned into me doing the night show. And then I left E93, and sometime later ended up coming over here to the beat.
Never knew that there was a radio station here. And I pulled up, came in, and there were like 20 girls sitting in the lobby. And they were all giving me these little side-eye looks. And I was like, what's going on? So I asked the receptionist, Miss Bonnie, was Egypt the lover here? And she said yes. Egypt came out the back, grabbed me, and said, let's go. So I guess the young ladies, they were there to audition for Night Rider Radio. But I had no idea. So Egypt walked past. We're just talking, regular conversation down the hallway. And then she stops me in front of her PD's office, program director. His name was Bo Money. And Bo Money had his head down, and Egypt said, Bo, this is her. Bo Money looked up at me and he said, that's her. And I was like, what's going on? And she goes, do me a favor, read this. I said, Egypt, come on, I got time. I got to pick up Barrington. I got to teach class. She's like, seriously, do me a favor, just read this. So I stood there and I read it. And it said, you know, hey, this is Night Rider Radio. Tune in this time, whatever, whatever. And then she said, okay, now I want you to read it like no one can see you. You're on the radio. Make the words come alive. And the voice happened. The voice happened. The Lady Mahogany voice happened out of the blue. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Lady Mahogany. Check out Night Rider Radio from 10 to 12 each and every night on Savannah's #1 for hip-hop and R&B. It's 94.1 The Beat. And Bo Money said, that's her. I came in, and there were 3 other young ladies, and they had us come on each night as a co-host with L.A. Johnson, a young man who was already here. And it was the people's choice. The people chose me. So not only did Bo choose me, but the people chose me. And next thing you know, 11 years later, I've been doing radio.
I got started in radio in 1982, so it's been well over 35 years. I wish it would have been easier to crack into the market that is my hometown. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. It would have been great to be able to go and find a radio station there that I could have worked at. But, you know, the business pretty much at that time told me that, hey, you need to come up through the ranks and learn your craft before you can go into the #1 market in the country.
I think the biggest drawback is that radio is always evolving, and with that, a lot of positions that mattered once upon a time, over time, kind of became obsolete. And I think because of that, it makes it a lot harder to break into the industry. Once upon a time, you could just know how to work a board and get a job just working the board. Now, not so much, because people know how to be radio personalities and work the boards for themselves and do X, Y, Z, and blase, blase. So
It's a cliche. It's a catch-22 being in this industry, and especially being in this industry as a woman. When it comes to being a woman in the industry, or being just in the industry, you must be mindful because you're always being watched. Someone is always listening to what you're saying and watching what you're doing, watching what you're wearing, how you walk, how you talk. you don't think that people are watching, but they are. So you must be mindful. The way that I've been able to survive is being mindful, being very mindful and very strategic about what I say, how I say it, when I say it, and where I say it. So you want to be careful. Having a microphone is power. That is power of the masses. And if you mistreat it, it can be taken away from you. So maintain your power, meaning the microphone, by being consistent and being mindful of your actions.
Some people think they have an idea, but far too often they may have the idea, but they don't know how to execute the idea in a way that it's effective to enter into the business. There's technique, there's fundamentals. Those things may elude them at the beginning. And so when they're trying to get themselves into the business, they don't have those resources at their fingertips, and it makes it very difficult to actually enter into the business in a way that they would like to, as exponentially as they would like to.
Radio, you look at things like Apple Music, Tidal, all these streaming sites that people listen to a lot of music from, but something that you're going to always get from radio or commercial radio that you wouldn't necessarily get from those is just the interaction with personalities. Personalities, you know, I mean, we give you the news. Not so much just that, not only that, but you know, personalities in local radio. Those are the people who can be at the events, who can, you know, when something happens in the community, they're one of the first ones to respond. And then above all, my favorite thing about being a personality is, you know, granted you're behind a mic, you know, every day, you get to also take that mic and use that mic to give a voice to people, you know what I'm saying, in the same community as you. And that's something that, you know, no app, no streaming service can give you. So I don't necessarily think it's dying.
It's not a dying industry. It's definitely on the downside. Social media has done that. And I think social media has put a lot of businesses out of business due to the fact of Uber, you know, cab companies. Cab companies are upset about Uber because now you have the person who is taking power into their own hands to do it themselves. Well, instead of people waiting around the radio at 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock to listen and see what's happening in the world, they can just go to social media. Everything is at the touch of their hands to be able to find out not only what is going on locally, but what's going on around the world. So people just don't have to wait for information anymore. And radio used to be one of the main sources of information. So dying? No. People are still listening. If they weren't, we wouldn't be filled with ads. Car dealerships, you know, new businesses, old businesses, Coca-Cola. You know, I'm still getting endorsement deals. So what that means is it is not a dying breed. People still are listening to radio, and it is some people's main source because it's all about a preference. So you have people who still prefer to listen to radio versus getting the information somewhere else. And music, you know, a lot of people are still, even though social media and just the internet itself has gotten music to a point to where it's easily accessible now to get the newest and hottest and latest. Some people, they want to hear it on the radio first with the DJ announcing it. So it's definitely not dying for all of those different variables.
Well, urban radio is all about the community. I mean, since the days of our ancestors who used to alert the community and communicate to the community via the drum. The radio station is for our community, and for all intents and purposes, the modern day drum.
One of the great things about being in radio is you get to give your mic to people to let them sound off and give a voice about, you know, things that are bothering the people. I mean, I can come and talk about Kim Kardashian and Kanye every day, but it ain't gonna make a difference in comparison to letting you know somebody else chime in about something that's happening here in the city that affects all of us. So, yeah.
Urban radio affects more than just the black community. That's a stereotype that I want to break. My listenership is so diverse, okay? So when I have my radio remotes, I have older white men who live in Rankin and listen to country music all the time. They know who Mahogany is. They listen to me all the time. They pull up in their 4x4s and they jump out the truck and they go, Mahogany, I listen to you every day. my daughter and my kids, my wife, they're across the street at the mall. I'm gonna go get them so we can come back and we can take a picture with you. Urban radio is not just urban anymore.